lights on.
Okay, yeah. The Conservation Commission meeting, May 27th, 2022. Present are
Susan Tucker.
Evelyn Miller.
Patty Gale, staff.
Jean Walker,
Chuck Freiberger.
Mark Lemay filling in for Collis Adams, Select Board.
David Beeman.
Okay. And the first on our agenda is map 30, lot 46-1. Exeter Medical Office Building is proposed to configure the existing parking lot to accommodate 16 additional parking spaces along with the insulating minor storm water management provisions and associated improvements owned by PRM-RGM LLC, located 89 South Mass Road, Zone Residential Small Business Offices 1 RSBO-1-1. And Wetlands and Surface Water Conservation District. This property is also located within the shoreline protection area. A recommendation is needed to be forwarded to the planning board. Do we have, yes, just state your name.
My name is Chris Danforth. I'm a wetland scientist with Keach Nordstrom Associates. I'm here to present the project based on looking for relief from the Water Conservation District, specifically Chapter 13.3.4. I'd like to pass out an amended plan. I found an error in the area calculation. You can pass that along.
Sure.
And I've included an aerial view just to give you kind of an oversight of the site. So basically, the amended area is
What is it? It's all just one state.
is 2,661 square feet within the water supply, wetlands and water supply conservation district. So basically, what the project, our proposal is, it's a existing medical facility, office park, located on South Mass Road, and basically they're just rehabbing the pavement, the existing pavement, and adding 9 parking spaces to accommodate the, I believe that DMC just moved in. It's a new practice. So they're just basically doing a rehab, and the impacts are basically associated with the grinding and repaving and adding the 9 parking spaces. So there's areas right here next to the building, and then another little area right over here. I think there's 5 spaces here and 4 spaces here. And then the grading and resurfacing of the parking lot. These are the 2 areas that add up to 2,661 square feet. This is the shore of Glen Lake right here, and the closest, basically the property line is within, it's about 65 feet from edge of the property to Glen Lake. The impact areas are about 75 feet at the closest point. This is the bike path here, and Mass Road is right here. There's not going to be any, the only impact to, it's basically going to be existing pavement, and then this little area right in here which is currently a lawn area, and we converted it into parking space. That's basically it in a nutshell.
So you're going to be into the outer 50 feet,
Correct.
the setback?
Yep. So there won't be any vegetation taken out, just some very minor grading just to accommodate the new pavement.
David?
Yes, I just want to clarify. So most of what's called the impact area, which is inside those red lines, is in fact now existing pavement that's being reground and replace, is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, just,
So
you
we're
know,
not-
maybe a little bit of a perimeter of that, which is,
So for that part of it, there's no new impervious surface being created, it's just a replacement.
well, there's some new impervious, this is currently,
What?
lawn right in here.
Right,
So it's gonna be about 300 and, I think it's 33 square feet of impervious area added.
that's what I was getting at, but what's in the red outline up there, that is currently impervious surface that's being pulled up, reground, replaced, repaired essentially.
Correct. Yeah.
So that, at least in that part, there's no increase in impervious area that's approaching the river.
Correct.
The only addition is, you said it was 350,
I think it's 330.
335,
somewhere in
and that is towards the road
there. Yeah, so that'd be.
as opposed to towards the river.
Yeah.
And is that, for that 335, is that also within the wetland buffer?
It doesn't
No,
look like it.
it's right in, it's in here, so that's out, this is the buffer line right here,
Yeah,
so this is beyond 100 feet.
so the area that, of impervious that's being created will in fact not be in the buffer.
Correct, to my knowledge. So, one thing I should add too is, is this is a infiltration trench, basically. There's a catch basin here, and then this is sleeved with stone, so it's basically infiltrating before it gets to this other catch basin, which goes into the public storm sewer.
So we have a situation where technically, because the work is being done within the area, the relief that's being requested. But the reality is, ain't nothing new being created in the
Right.
buffer zone that isn't already there impervious.
And the other thing too is this railroad bed is probably 3 to 4 feet higher than the parking lot, so
So it's at least-
water doesn't go uphill, so we're not
Yeah.
gonna have any issues with runoff, you know,
Right.
towards Glen Lake. It all goes to the storm sewer.
You know, actually, there's one other thing. I think this is considered commercial property, right?
No.
No, it's not, it's
No.
residential?
It's
Yes,
residential small
residential
business
one.
office. It's
Oh, I
not
see,
commercially
okay.
zoned.
Yeah,
Okay,
so it
all right.
doesn't fall under that exemption.
Okay,
It's
all right.
residential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I looked
then
at that, I thought maybe I was out of the woods, but.
Look, okay, but I would concur with David right there. It doesn't look to me like there's much to worry about.
So you're putting it so most of the runoff will come away from the lake.
Correct.
Try
It's-
to-
Oh, yeah.
None of it will go, I mean,
Put
it's,
that way.
you know,
Raise
there's an
it,
embankment at the
That
back
would
of
be
the
the
lot.
biggest concern, having from the parking lot in,
But it's,
Yeah.
there's a barrier there, so. you know.
Yeah, and I think it's closer to maybe 5 feet, it's quite a,
It is-
Yeah, well,
it's
yeah,
quite
it
far,
is.
yeah.
it's quite a
Right,
height.
right. Well, does somebody want to make
anybody
a?
else have any other questions
Oh, I
or?
was gonna say that, so I have, because it really isn't an increase of impact within the buffer in terms of impervious surface, that's, no issues there. Are there any other changes that we should be aware of, any drainage changes or?
Well, just that infiltration trench that's being
Infiltration trench.
proposed.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's actually gonna make things a little better too.
And what will that do exactly?
Well, it allows some infiltration instead of just running off, you know, into the storm sewer. It does
Yeah.
allow some infiltration into the.
Into the,
And you said there was no vegetation being removed, so.
Yeah,
there's
no trees or, you know, maybe some grass, but that's all gonna be replanted.
So there's no landscaping plan for that reason, because there's no change in
Correct.
vegetation?
Where the drainage, that new drainage easement you're gonna put in, you have to test the sand to see the feasibility of the drainage of the soil, or will it just happen?
That's a good question. I do the infiltration testing myself, and they haven't had me do that yet. So I'm not sure how he's
My
sizing
only,
that.
okay, so my only question would be, and I'm just a guest tonight,
Go ahead.
I'm filling in, so that you understand is, we make that drain, the soil underneath is not porous enough to drain the water, now we end up with a big puddle of water.
Well, it will go into the storm
You
drainage.
go into that storm drainage?
Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately where it's gonna go. I mean, you get some incidental infiltration.
Okay,
I know the soils up there are quite sandy,
Yeah.
so I'm expecting.
okay,
Yeah.
Anybody else have any
Well,
comments, or?
with infiltration systems and other innovative things like that, the main problem is usually maintenance.
Right.
Will there be a maintenance plan?
Well, I believe
Who will be
there's a,
responsible?
they have a snout on that, which keeps the solids out of the storm flow. That's something that can be collected and cleaned out.
But who would be responsible for it? Who would be,
That would be the owners of the property.
Okay, does anybody want to make a motion?
David?
David?
Come on, David.
I do want to note they are applying for a shoreline permit as well.
Yeah, that's been applied for, it was submitted and accepted by state on
So what's that?
Just same thing, what they're doing. They're
Oh,
within 250 feet.
oh,
So
okay. Well, I think the,
I'm just noting it for you.
okay, but the rails trail berm
Yes.
is certainly, yeah, right, okay. David?
I move that we would recommend that the work be allowed within the setback district zone for the following reasons. One, within the wetland setback zone, there will be no new net creation of impervious surface since the existing asphalt is being essentially removed, reground, and repaired, so it will not add to impervious surface. Two, the small area of 335 square feet for a couple more parking spaces is outside the buffer, so that doesn't concern us. And three, the addition of at least an infiltration trench may in fact be an overall improvement for drainage on the property and hopefully reduce some storm water runoff. So we don't see any detriment from this proposal and possibly even some improvement.
Do we have a second on that?
I'll second that.
Susan? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay, that's to be submitted to you.
If you ask these back to you, you're gonna, you have to go before
Oh,
planning,
do you use
right?
these?
You can keep it if you want them.
Well, if you got to go to
I'm not,
planning, you're
yeah, I
gonna
want
take
to
them
keep a couple of
If you're
short.
going to the planning.
Yeah,
board,
they're just gonna end up in recycling. If you-
That's fine, because I think I'm
Good.
going to.
You
Okay.
already said.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, is this the whole thing?
Yep,
It's the
this is
same
it.
thing?
Thank you.
Okay.
We're done. Thank you.
Okay, we need to have acceptance
She wants these
and
back.
corrections
Yeah, I'll
of
take them out.
Okay.
the minutes for March 23rd. Anybody want to make a motion accepting those?
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes from the March meeting, and also make a motion that we accept the non-public
We're going to
minutes.
put those together. Okay.
of
We have a
the
second
work
on both of those?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
meeting. Aye.
Opposed?
That's right,
Abstaining?
I have to
One
abstain.
abstention. And Chuck
And
Okay, so
abstaining.
yeah.
2 in favor and 3 abstentions. You don't vote.
Okay, I don't vote.
You can vote tomorrow, though. So 3 abstentions.
Okay, we had let's see, we have our budget with us. Do we need to go over that?
No,
Okay,
I just giving
you
it
have
for,
it, you know, look through in your packet. Also, there's a letter from the ELC, unspent funds, $787.38 is being returned for credit towards land use change tax, which is always good.
And I'd like to point out that in the budget statement, it does reflect that's already been deposited, so that's good.
Okay on that?
Yeah.
Okay, and David, you want to, for the, I guess it comes under open space, the Cartridge Farm open space easement?
Yeah, so because that was all coming together at the last meeting, we did discuss it in closed session. I guess I just blew that, but it's all public now, it's all, statements have all been released, and so just a brief synopsis of it. This, the Clark Farm property, which is off of Highway, if you have a copy of this, off of Highway 13 near the Dunbarton border and the intersection of Page Hill Road and Patton Hill. Previously, the land,
Yeah, we'll lay out.
the other side of the road, that was an easement that the family donated many, many years ago. That was like the second project we did after the open space committee was formed. And now they want to do the property that's on the western side of the road. And basically it's all of lot 10-3, which is 50.9 acres, and then 10-3-1. It's most of that, but excluding where the existing farm and barns and buildings are. And then, to sweeten this thing even more, this land on the corner of Page Hill Road is a 15 acres that had been approved a number of years ago for subdivision. It was to be subdivided into 5 lots. And this is, as you can see, it's from the aerial, it's a big open hayfield. We were kind of heartbroken when it got approved, but you know, that's the way it goes. And but it hadn't been developed yet, and the family that owns it has entered into an agreement with the King family to allow them to buy it. And since we already had been talking to them for quite a while about doing the conservation land here, came up with a plan that made it affordable for them to be able to buy it if we, were able to do a conservation easement on it and seek grant money to help cover the expenses, because it's very valuable real estate. It's a flat, open field. It's a developer's dream. There's plenty of road access. So it's
It's
fairly
definitely,
expensive. And, yeah, the second page then also shows, you see the individual lots that make up that whole thing. And you can also see the wetlands. So the big wetland that looks like somebody's pulled molar,
Yeah.
that's a prime wetland. And if you read the prime wetlands report, it actually scored really, really high for its environmental quality and wildlife habitat. One of the higher scoring in the report in that regard. And then the land on the other side of the road, it actually drains down into, you can see its wetlands here. Those wetlands feed their way down into Stinson Road Marsh, which is another prime wetland. This isn't Stinson Road Marsh in the image, these are wetlands above it that feed into that delineation. So because we're protecting a prime wetland and drainage into another prime wetland, we'll seek, again, an ARM grant from DES, Aquatic Resource Mitigation Fund, that hopefully will pay for quite a bit of this. And we're also pursuing and started the groundwork for doing an Eldership Grant. And we'll look at the Merrimack Regional Partners that they'll probably kick in some money. It won't be a large amount, probably a Moose Lake grant as well. So we're going to be applying for a lot of grants on this one, because it's an expensive project. We obviously don't have that, in our budget. We do have some money that we can help fill in and help meet match, but this project should be mostly from grant sources. And so we got a lot of work to do, writing grant
do
applications.
they have
and
any
that-
grants also for the aesthetics in terms of the view? I know we always,
Well, that's
I
a
mean,
factor that feeds in, like you would help with.
yeah, helps
Not so much, not for ARM it's to protect the aquatic
The water.
resources.
But it
but-
really is a piece of property that has lots of value, lots of.
Yeah, and at times in the past, the scenic byways program of the federal government in the past has provided grant funds for acquiring land that's protected. It's kind of an on-again, off-again thing. They had on their website last year, in the spring of the winter last year, they posted the federal government has promised money to fund the scenic byways program again in New Hampshire. Please send your letter of intent by April 21st, 2021. That's still on the website.
Oh,
So I called and talked to them about that, and they're like, yeah, we don't know, because we haven't heard back. So
Oh.
we don't know what the status is, when we'll get it, if we'll get it.
mm,
But we will certainly going to keep in touch with them and let them know that we're doing this.
mm.
Just, you know, in the chance that that could be another source. I don't anticipate it, but, you know, don't leave any stones
Never know, yeah.
unturned, so. I'm optimistic that we will be able to come up with the grants
Hmm.
to cover this.
Oh, it's,
Okay, thank you, David.
yes, thank you
Mhm.
very much, David, you've done a lot of work for yourself. And it's a
So
very,
this is an exciting project, really, because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a big one, and it's very noticeable and very important, so thanks. Do we have anything for non-public?
No,
This is it, right?
I'm just gonna say that now that we've gotten this all together and signed PNS and all that stuff, I would, wanted to also brief the select board about it. It's always a fine line, do I come and waste your time?
Nope.
Because I don't know,
No,
I know you guys have busy schedules and I
Yeah.
don't like to
just
talk any more than
speak to
necessary.
Derek upstairs or Patty can speak to Derek to set up an appointment with us, and we're always glad to have you. We appreciate the work you do, and, yeah, come on in and,
I'll set that up then, just to
Yep.
give a nutshell.
Yep.
I'll tell you, so you know what we're working on.
Yep.
And it would be probably a year and a half before we would get to the point of closing where
hmm,
we would come back and ask that you would accept executory interest and that sort of thing.
yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay, I guess that's it for tonight. Somebody want to make a motion for?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Anybody have a second on that?
second.
All those in favor?
Whoa,
Whoa,
okay.
22 minutes, Gene, it's a record.